Hello, I'm Nina Ene and you're watching SaharaTV. News is just coming to us of an aviation accident in Nigeria today. A Boeing 747 jetliner carrying 400 pilgrims to Saudi Arabia crash-landed in Sokoto International Airport. The plane hit a sharp object as it was landing, blowing out 2 of its 18 tires. No life was lost in that mishap. However, passengers of another aircraft were not as lucky. On Wednesday, a plane carrying 20 people crashed on takeoff from Murtala Muhammed International Airport in Lagos. 16 people were killed. Only 4 survived. The plane was an Embraer 120 jet operated by Nigeria's Associated Airlines. This incident is now the latest addition to Nigeria's lengthy history of plane accidents. But there have been crashes far worse than this. Let's take a quick look at a few of them. Many remember the Dana Airlines June 3, 2012 crash like it was yesterday. The plane came down in the residential area of Iju-Ishaga, Lagos. The plane's dual engine failure led to the crash. All 153 people aboard died, along with 10 people on ground. It was the second deadliest crash on Nigerian soil. The deadliest, in our opinion, was with a Canadian Nation Air flight chartered by Nigerian Airways in 1991. The plane was bringing back Muslims from a pilgrimage to Mecca. One of its tires was underinflated, causing a fire minutes after takeoff from Jeddah. The aircraft began to break apart mid-air. All 261 people on board were killed. And finally, this was just as unfortunate. A few weeks before Christmas on December 10, 2005, 108 people were killed when Sosoliso Flight 1145 crash-landed in Port Harcourt. Many of the dead were young school children going home for the holidays. Only 2 people survived. We're joined now by Taiwo Ogunlesi, a Nigerian aviation consultant. Welcome to the program, Mr. Ogunlesi.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
Oh, well, not too happy with all these crashes that we have all over in Nigeria.
Yeah, but as far as you know, what went wrong with the Associated Airlines crash? What happened?
I can't tell you exactly what happened, but I think basically now in Nigeria, the aircrafts are very, very poorly maintained. We're not keeping up with the international standard of maintenance in Nigeria. And that's why I think we're having all these accidents so frequently. People are cutting corners when it comes to maintenance.
What do you mean by cutting corners?
Aviation, to start with, is a very expensive business. So unless you're really ready for it, don't go into it. I mean, just like if you have a car, if you don't send your car in when it's supposed to be serviced and maintained, you know what is going to happen. Now we're talking about aeroplanes. Once it takes off, you're on your own. So it has to be maintained for you to have optimum performance. I remember in my time in aviation in Nigerian Airways, we used to carry logbooks, maintenance logbooks. For every flight that took off from point A to point B, every incident was documented. And as soon as you are landing at the next airport, you have the ground engineers that will take these logbooks and check what has been written in it, correct whatever you have written there, and sign off. If it's not signed off, you don't go nowhere. I am told these days, because I'm still very much in touch with some of my old colleagues in Nigeria in the aviation industries, they hardly do that anymore. Go manage it, go and come back, we'll do it on your return trip. It may be the last trip you'll ever do. Remember what happened to Dana? As we were told, it was supposed to be grounded for maintenance. But somebody said, and don't quote me on this because I don't have written documents on that, oh, just go and back. When you come back, we'll take care of the problem. He never made it back.
Yes, I understand that, but apparently having logbooks being signed off wasn't sufficient for Nigerian Airways itself. We know that Nigerian Airways went through their own share of mishaps, plane crashes, and accidents, overshooting the runway, and all that. Is our problem just about the logbooks? I understand, about managing things. Nigerians have this attitude of managing things, but I'd like you to, contextualize. Give us more here. Is that the only area where it lacks?
No, we have human errors too. And in Nigerian Airways, I was there for about 30 years. And I can tell you in all my 30 years in Nigerian Airways, a number of accidents that we had are nothing compared to what is happening now. They're too frequent now and too dangerous. I can tell you offhand, we had about maybe 3 or 4 incidents in my 30 years there, in my 30 years.
And this was from when to when?
From 1970 to 2000.
Okay, I mean, like, from my own research, I've definitely saw more than, 3 or 4 mishaps. There were cases of overshooting the runway. There were cases of crashes,
Overshooting the runway doesn't make it a crash.
No, but it's a mishap.
It's a mishap, but
a lot of people have died.
No, not from overshooting the runway.
No, a lot of people have died from cases of when planes have overshot the runway.
If you overshoot the runway, there are 2 sides to it. Either when you have landed, the runway is waterlogged, the brakes don't hold. Then you're going to overshoot the runway. Sometimes when you overshoot the runway is when you're about to land and you see there's waterlog on the thing, you take it back up.
Yes, but I understand there's a decision. There's a decision line. Once you go, I think below 200 feet or something, you can't change your mind. You have to land.
You have to land.
Last year, I hear that Kotoka International Airport there's never been a disaster in that airport. But in 2012, June 2nd, there was a Nigerian cargo plane overshot the runway and killed a lot of motorcyclists.
Yes, I heard about that, but I can't speak for them. I was no longer there to 2012.
Yes.
Yeah, but such things happen. Like I said, human error sometimes play a major role.
Yes.
Decision.
Yes. But you do agree with us that the Nigerian aviation industry is in dire need of an overhaul?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think federal government of Nigeria should bring in people who know about aviation into aviation industry, not just political appointees. I mean, I have nothing against the Minister of Aviation. I don't know her, never met her. But I'm saying there are certain decisions when we must take, it has to come with the people who know what. I mean, you don't bring a plumber to do electricity in your home. You don't bring a political jobber to be Minister of Aviation or Minister for Health. Those are areas where you just need a technical know-how to be there so that when people are talking, you know what they're talking about.
Yes, that's totally understandable. Now, going back to the Bellevue air disaster of 2005, evidence put forward is nearly irreconcilable. Neither the flight data recorder nor the cockpit voice recorder were found, and that's because of the nature of the crash. Usually, how easy is it to locate, the black box? Is that the only essential part of, a successful air crash investigation?
That's some kind of information box that tells you everything from once you start the engine till the time you cut off the engine. It has and it's put in a container that's supposed to be fireproof or fire retardant. It's supposed to float even if you land in water, except maybe the aircraft is blown into pieces. Then you don't see it. You may not see it. But it's made in such a way with superb equipment to make sure that nothing happens to it. So that I can give you everything, including the conversation in the cockpit is recorded.
Yes. Yes, that's with the cockpit,
Yeah.
cockpit voice
Voice
recorder.
recorder.
But in this case, it was never found. And I also understand with the black box, if in water, it can only you can only find it within 30 days. And after that, the horn goes off or something like that.
Yeah, if you don't see it in 30 days, what are you looking for? You must be able to get it within hours because of the homing signal
Yes.
coming from it. That's if you have the equipment to locate it. Do you think that can happen in a civilized society? They won't find it? They will.
But with the case of the Bellevue air crash, we didn't find it. The AIB
Because
didn't find it.
it went into water. It went underneath, right into the place, inside water. So maybe
Are you talking about the Bellevue?
Yeah.
No, it landed in Lisa.
Lisa.
Yes, so it went into,
Somebody's house.
it went into, there was a hole. It actually went into, it made a crater. So it's believed that the heat from the, post-crash destroyed, melted the black box. Or maybe it was stolen because a lot of things were looted by the villagers.
But that's why I'm still saying that we're ill-prepared for accidents in Nigeria. Even when that aircraft crashed, first of all, I was told at that time that the rescue operation didn't get there quickly. And when they got there, they were running away from the heat coming from the crashed aeroplane. So anything could have happened to that box. Somebody could have taken it away not knowing what it was like. Or say like a souvenir from the aeroplane. And they won't release it because they don't know what it is.
So, as I said, the evidence put forward is near irreconcilable.
Yes.
And it's still a mystery what exactly happened. So finding the black box, is that the only essential piece in air crash investigation?
It's a major piece in investigation. It's a major piece.
So, I mean, let's go now to the Dana crash, which is more recent. The flight data recorder was destroyed in the fire.
In the fire.
And only the cockpit voice recorder was able to be, was salvaged. And through that, the Accident Investigation Bureau put the verdict. The verdict was it was caused by a dual engine failure. I mean, that was what was concluded. But is that the exact story? Is that what really happened? Because it's really important to know what happened so we can avert crisis in the future.
Yes, what actually happened is different from what was probably said to the public. I can't tell you exactly what happened. I wasn't in Nigeria at that time. And most of the time, from my experience, they tell us what they want us to know, not the actual thing. A lot of cover-ups. And I'm sure you, as an investigative reporter, you must have found out that let me put it this way. Of all the crashes that we have had in Nigeria, how many reports have come out on all these crashes?
Yes, I was going to talk about that as well. So what do you mean by, in your own experience, there have been a lot of cover-ups and we're only being told, or the verdict put out is just not complete?
It's not complete. It's, I don't know. There's too much. You can put on corruption. You can put it on. You can put on corruption. You can put it on indiscipline, people doing a half job, incompetent people in the place, and people who are supposed to know better have been laid off, fired, because they don't belong to who is in charge. There's so many things wrong in aviation industry. You have too many people who don't know jack, pardon my language, who are holding sway there. People who know they are wasting away in their villages. And people who tell them the truth, they don't want to hear it. They see you as an enemy. They think you're against the government. No, it's not like that. You just want things to be done properly. That is why you have never had a proper report on any crash in the place.
What do you think about the chairman of the AIB? What do you think about what he said when, he tried to denounce any iota of doubt of the conclusion by saying, because the Dana crash was investigated by the NTSB, and that was because the plane was made on American soil.
Yes.
And a lot of people were saying, how sure are we that, when the evidence went to America before it came back to Nigeria, it wasn't doctored? He said, well, we have AIB officials who go with the evidence to America, watch every step of the investigation process, and things are being taped, the pictures are being taken, and this evidence is actually, the cockpit voice recorder was audio, you can't change it. What do you think about that? Do you think he was just bluffing?
I think so. I think so. Because it's what they want us to hear, like I said, that they're going to tell us. They're not going to tell us, well, let's put it as this, they're telling us half-truths. Half-truths. The truth will come out someday. But then it will be too late. And this is not the first time it's going to happen. If we go back before I even joined aviation in 1970, there was a VC-10 crash in 1969 in Iju. The true report was never released. I'm not going to talk about that now because it could be sub judice.
No, we'd like to know because our viewers are probably thinking, a lot of our viewers are familiar with that crash.
Look, the
So
VC-10 in 1969
Yes.
is going to rest. Let it rest as it is.
So what was the report that was put out?
Bad weather.
Of course, we know bad weather. Even, I don't work with the Accident Investigation Bureau or the NTSB, but I know bad weather because I'm educated and I'm interested in aviation. I'm going to assume a lot of our viewers are that way as well. We know bad weather doesn't suffice.
That's what they want us to know. And let's leave it like that.
So what do you think actually happened?
I know there is a very senior colleague of mine. Actually, he is about the first African pilot. Captain Rufus Rimolo is from Akure area. I think he's writing a book on that now, so I'm not going to say anything. Our viewers definitely, a lot of people are thinking about this, and it's, going through their minds. What they're thinking Human
about
error.
this, right? Human error, pilot error.
Yeah.
But I just wonder, why can't they say it's pilot error? It happens where human beings.
Lawsuits. You have to be careful of what you say because of lawsuits.
Okay, so since you say lawsuit, I'll take us back to the Sosoliso plane crash of December 10, 2005. The evidence put out was, the verdict put out was, it was wind shear and pilot error. Which, balances. I can see, okay, wind shear and pilot error. Maybe the pilot wasn't experienced enough to know how to land in wind shear. How come there wasn't a lawsuit in that case?
Are you sure that there are no lawsuits? There are lawsuits.
Okay.
They just haven't been concluded.
And that's why we don't know about it.
That's why you don't know about it. That's why you have to be careful of what you say.
So let's assume, a lot of kids were on that flight. Some of the parents,
so sad. Yeah,
yes, it was a terrible incident.
Yes.
It was a it was terrible, horrifying.
Yes.
Some of those parents would have, decided to sue Sosoliso. I mean, they're no longer in existence.
In existence, yes.
How successful do you think they would have been?
I don't know. I don't think we'll have been successful.
Why?
First of all, our culture in Nigeria, we don't sue people. Because you know somebody who knows the owner of the place, they say, oh, it's our child, oh, it's our brother, oh, let it rest. And then some under the table dealings too will go on and they just let it rest. And also, that by our culture in Nigeria, they say you don't go to court and come back home to become friends or family. So that takes a major part of the problem too. Unlike here, if I fall on your driveway, you're in trouble. But that's not our culture back home. So that's another thing that is affecting it. People have to be educated. They have to be aware of their rights. It has nothing to do with family or friends. It has to do with your rights.
That's understandable. I totally agree with you on that. But with the Bellevue plane crash, it was reported that Bellevue compensated each family with about $100,000. So did that come after a lawsuit, or
No.
it just came naturally?
It just came naturally because the insurance company gave out the money real quick. Sometimes they do that. They pay out quick. So that even have to go to court, they will say, oh, listen, you got something already. So let's start to talk about if you want more. And that's going to take forever. And everybody involved probably must have passed into the great beyond before they come to a conclusion.
Oh, definitely.
So that's another way out. You quickly settle the people.
So, you know, just from talking to you now, I can say that you're of the view that the Nigerian aviation industry is inherently corrupt.
Very badly corrupt. And people who are doing aviation business in Nigeria have absolutely no business going into aviation business. And also, I think there are too many airlines. They should all come together. Look, see here in America where we all live, see how the airlines are coming together. Have you even heard about the merger from Virgin Atlantic and Delta? Yeah. KLM with Delta, Air France.
Delta.
They all these are huge airlines. Huge airlines. They have realized that they cannot do it alone, so they're merging their resources. But then back home, we don't trust ourselves. And everybody wants to show off. The in thing is having a private jet. You don't need a private jet. It makes the place, you know, it makes the skies unsafe. I'm sorry, I have to refer to this. Look at the governor Suntai. Is it Governor Suntai of Taraba?
Yes.
He decided to take his plane in the air. When a trained captain said, look, it is not safe to go, he still went up in the air. What happened? You all know what happened. So it's sad.
This all falls back, you know, on the Minister of Aviation. Maybe her regulation and her enforcement is not strong enough.
It's not there.
It's not strong enough for anyone to just, you know, pick up and fly.
And fly.
There could have been a mid-air collision, which would have, you know, endangered the lives or killed so many people who didn't deserve to die.
Even people on ground.
Exactly. But before we go there, I just want to, you know, go back to the Dana air crash. Their license was suspended, and it was reinstituted in 4 months, less than, you know, the amount of time it took them to close the inquiry into the, you know, the accident. What do you think that says about the Nigerian aviation industry?
Nigerian factor.
Which is?
You know it. Even a blind man can see it. Corruption. Corruption.
But, you know, a lot of people are thinking there's a lot of people are thinking, okay, so there's corruption, but are you saying that everyone is corrupt, from the president to the minister to the perm secretary to all the other people working with, to the AIB? Who are we to hold responsible?
I have no comments on corruption from the head to the toe. But like the famous guy said that we saw on your TV, blame my Oga at the top, or ask my Oga at the top.
Well, the Oga at the top in this situation will be President Goodluck Jonathan. And
so, Oga at the top.
Just in case you're watching, speaking to you, you know, and thinking about what you're saying, I don't know. I think the Nigerian aviation industry needs a serious overhaul.
Total overhaul.
Because the reason we investigate plane crashes is to be able to avert a future
occurrence.
If one is not investigated properly, there will be more, and more people will die.
Yes, you're right.
So, you know, also with the Bellevue plane crash, there were reports that the pilot was hired after being on a flying hiatus for 14 years. He had been working at a dairy, and he actually got shot in the head, you know, during a robbery attack at the dairy. I don't know if you heard about that.
I didn't.
But this was according to a U.S. report on the Bellevue plane crash. You know, so what does that say? Do you believe that report? Do you think it's possible?
It is
possible. As a first officer yourself?
It is possible. You see, in my time, we used to do evaluation every 6 months. Every 6 months, you're doing your medicals, you're doing your simulator, you're doing everything from your sight to your hearing to your thinking, everything is checked.
Sorry to cut you off here, but after the crash, going through his medical evaluations, there was no history of that incident where he was shot in the head.
Maybe it didn't happen. Maybe somebody's trying to make it up. Or maybe it happened and was cleaned off. There are two sides to a coin. I can't comment on that because I don't know.
Yes, but, you know, talking as a former first officer, could you tell us a bit about the hiring process and the evaluation?
Like I said, if you're hired, you're going for training. Even if you're coming with 20 years experience, you still have to go into training. And like I said, too, every 6 months you go for a simulator to make sure you're still upright and you know what you're doing, including medical, including your blood pressure. If you're beyond, I think it's 120, 80, you are grounded. You are grounded until you come to normal. You understand? Not like, I don't know what they do these days. I don't even know if they go for checks anymore. And I remember in our time how people used to swear and cuss us out, that we're lazy, we didn't want to work. But the thing is that if you get on the aeroplane and you see the logbook or you check something and it's not repaired or replaced, you don't go. You wait until it is signed off. If it is not signed off, you're not going anywhere. Like now, I'm told that they don't do such things. People don't even use logbooks. They write on pieces of paper and give it to the engineer when they land. There's a possibility that the ground engineer will look at a piece of paper, crumble it and just toss it, or you say it's done. So that when you get the actual logbook of the aeroplane, you will think it's a clean aeroplane. Meanwhile, it's a piece of lemon. How do you check that? You have to have like AIB, AARB2, and then all of them are there. The controlling bodies in Nigeria, we have all the places in FAAC, all of them are there. They have a right to get on the aeroplane at any time of the day or night, anywhere in Nigeria. Foreign airline, Nigerian airline, doesn't matter. Get on the aeroplane, demand for the logbook. If they see any discrepancy there, the aircraft is grounded. That was then. I don't know if they still do it now. A colleague of mine, a former colleague of mine said to me recently that they were going to purchase an aircraft. They were coming here to purchase an aircraft, a used aeroplane. Nothing wrong with it. The regulating body in Nigeria was supposed to send people to come and check the aeroplane. They didn't come. They did what they had to do from Lagos. What do you say about that? That's why I'm saying to you that we need a total overhaul of the aviation industry in Nigeria. Stop putting square pegs in round holes. It has nothing to do with politics. After all, there are some politicians too that are aviation experts. You can put them there. It's not just job for the boys, because this is a very sensitive area of our lives.
So, you know, you were talking about the simulator you're supposed to be sent, you know,
every
6 months.
Yes.
You were first officer for 30 years.
No,
30 years.
Well, God, not really 30 years. You know, graduated from second officer, first officer, senior first officer.
Okay, but you never became a captain.
Yes.
And I asked you, you know, before the interview, I said, why didn't you become a captain?
Because I was changing airplanes.
You would keep changing. You kept changing. They
Yes.
kept changing you
from one aircraft
flying
to
this to the other.
So there one. So you start to acquire the experience on that again.
So how important is a simulator exercise if you're always changing?
If you're on a particular aeroplane for so long, you have so many hours on it. You have to have X amount of hours to be called a captain.
Yeah.
You understand? But if you change to transition from one aircraft to another, you know you're going to start to gather the experience again on that one, get the hours.
Yeah.
But we kept buying aeroplanes in Nigerian Airways, and we kept going for training. And then these simulators help you, they keep you on your toes.
But the simulator helps you with a particular kind of airplane.
The aeroplane you are flying at that point in time.
So what happens to the others that you've been flying, or the others they may make you fly?
No, you don't just go and fly, because if you are done with this aeroplane, you are done.
Okay.
It's the next one that you are concentrating on.
Okay.
If you have to go back to what you were doing before,
Yeah.
then you have to go straight back to school and
Yeah.
start from the very ab initio, from the very beginning, to do the training on that aircraft, even though you have flown it before. But if you don't fly for 6 months, that's it.
But you don't think these simulation exercises are still being...
I don't know what they do now. I'm not there.
Okay. But, you know, just in rounding up, Nigeria just recently got a coveted license from America to fly, for American domestic carriers to fly directly to Nigeria with an aviation safety record. What do you think is going to be the future of that license?
Oh, boy. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
We need an answer from someone in the industry.
We'll see how it plays out.
Do you think that America would withdraw that license?
I don't want to say, I don't want to preempt anything. We'll see how it plays out. It's not the first time they're going to do it to us. They did it to us before, even without having any problems in aviation. June 12, 1993, they banned us, they banned everything because of politics. That had nothing to do with safety in aviation. So that's what I'm saying. We'll wait and see how it plays out.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Ogunlesi. It was
You're
fun.
welcome.
It was really interesting talking to you. We learned a lot about the aviation industry. Thank you guys for watching our interview here on SaharaTV with Mr. Taiwo Ogunlesi. He just spoke to us as a former first officer himself with Nigerian Airways. He just spoke to us about the aviation industry, how it was when he was there and now, and what he thinks should be the future, what he thinks should happen so that we can save more lives in Nigeria. Stay tuned and keep watching. This is SaharaTV.